Well, hello. Hello out there in Facebook and Periscope land. I tell ya, I can see that my Facebook is looking a little lackluster there in terms of the reception. Let's see if we can improve upon that. Well, maybe that looks a little bit better. I don't know. It just seemed to be that it was lagging. Hi, this is Neil Palacci with the Wealth Creator Company for Women. And I am here in beautiful Westlake Village. I have to tell you that in Southern California today, at least out where I am, the wind was a howling. I would imagine it's not quite as cold as it may be in other areas of the country, but it's pretty cold for us. Well, at least for me. It's when the winds are howling like this, my goodness, it makes it pretty cold. So I hope you're all doing well out there today, and I'm looking forward to chatting with you. Let me tell you, just as a shameless plug, that if you've got a few minutes to go over to any of my websites, that'd be terrific. We've got the wealthcreatorcompany.com where you can get a 26-week free program, and we've got neilsdeals.com. neilzdealz.com. We've got the divorcetransitionprofessionals.com. And for those of you who are interested, who are in the financial services business, we've got the www.wealthcreatorplatinummastermindgroups.com. So it's great to see you all out there today. Thank you for joining me. I decided today that I was going to talk about prospecting. Now, as a money coach, I talk about a lot of different things. Now, of course, I'm educating people on financial products and financial issues. But prospecting is a related financial issue, isn't it? Because without prospecting, you've got no sales. Without sales, you've got no money. Without money, you can't pay your bills, etc., etc. So there's a lot of connections. I mean, the reality is that money is connected to everything we do, certainly almost everything that we do. And so I thought today I'm going to talk about prospecting. And I have to tell you that there's an ulterior motive, and the ulterior motive is that when I do this kind of thing, I'm motivating myself. I'm motivating and inspiring myself as much as I want to motivate and inspire you to do what is necessary to get out there and see who you want to see. The reality is that you must, of course, first believe that what you do is important enough to let people know about it. Now, if you're not letting people know about it, then who cares? I mean, seriously, who really cares if you don't? And so prospecting is about you caring. And you have to tell people about what it is that you have. And if you don't believe in what you have, you're not going to get out there and tell people about it. So now there is something called call reluctance, and we all have that reluctance. We all have, to some degree, that reluctance to get on the phone, to knock on the door, to do the things that are necessary. And there's easy cop-outs, right? Because we can send emails, and we can send texts, and we can send mailers, I suppose, to some degree, or a postcard, or a greeting card of some kind. We can do anything but call. And less people are calling because, what the hell, why should I call? All I do is get an answer machine, or I get a gatekeeper. It's difficult to get through. I can't find the person that I want to talk to. I can't get to the person that I want to talk to. So I'll just not do it. I'll send him or her an email, or I'll send a text. Now, those things should be done as well. And I'm not saying that emails and texts are valueless. They're not valueless, certainly. But if you want to get a hold of somebody, if you want to talk to somebody, if you want to have them know who you are, and really have them get to know what you're about, then you want to talk to them on the phone. And then what's the goal when you get on the phone? For most of us, many of us, I shouldn't say most, it depends what you do for a living, but for many of us, the goal of getting on the phone is to get an appointment. We want to have a cup of coffee. Well, I don't drink coffee, so for me, I want to have a cup of tea. I want to have a good, strong cup of English breakfast tea. Or if I go over to my friend Jamie, she'll make me a cup of Irish breakfast tea. But I want to have a cup of tea with a little bit of milk in it, and I want to have lots of caffeine because tea has plenty of caffeine in it. But that's me. So you want to get out there and you want to chat with people and tell them what you do. So you've got to get them on the phone typically to make that appointment. Now, if you know somebody and you can do that over the email or text, that's fine. But when you've been referred to somebody, you might send them an email, say, hey, hi, nice to meet you and so forth. But at the end of the day, you want to have a chat with them. Now, I use a system that I learned many years ago that I'd like to share with you as to how to track this stuff. Now, I think that you all know this, and I don't know what the numbers are, but I would hazard a guess that most people do not track what they do. They don't track who they see. They don't track how many calls they make. They don't track how many appointments they keep. They don't have a really good database. They are looking for phone numbers always, and oh, where did I put that number? Where did I put that business card? Where did I put that in? Did I send that guy that email? Did I send that report? The tracking is awful, awful, and it's your gold. When you talk to the gurus out there with marketing, and I certainly am not one of them, but I know for sure that your people, the people that you see, the people that know you, this stuff is gold. That's where your money is. That's where the new clients are going to be. That's where your existing clients are. And of course, who's the easiest person to do business with? New business is your existing client, If somebody's bought something from you once, they'll buy something else from you if you did a good job and if they trust you. So very, very important that you stay in touch with people. And I've experienced this personally, and I'm sure that the people listening to this have also, where you're working hard to get that new client, and that's great. You got to do that. But are you looking after your existing clients? Are you looking after the people who were your clients, who aren't currently doing business with you, but could be doing business with you in the future? Are you taking care of them? Are you staying in touch with them? Because complacency will kill you. It'll kill you. You've got to stay in touch with those people. Now, the system that I was talking about for the phone calling. This is for the phone calling. Now, there's other systems that I have in place for other parts of the prospecting cycle, the sales cycle. But the very simple thing that I do is I say, okay, let's say that I want to make 20 calls a day. Now, when I say 20 calls a day, I'm talking about 20 dials. Well, I guess we're not dialing, we're pushing now, right? I just showed my age. We don't have the dial phone anymore. But 20 phone numbers are being called. Whether or not you reach anybody or talk to anybody is secondary. But excuse me, but the first thing that you have to do is you have to make that call. So you make that call. Now, I put a dot for that call, and so I will eventually have 20 dots across a page. Now, if I actually speak to somebody, then I change one of those dots into a check mark. And then if I make an appointment with somebody, then I change that check mark into a check mark with two crossed lines across the long part of the check mark. And if I get their phone number, if I get their birth date, I also put another mark across there. Why is their birth date important? Because that's how I stay in touch with people. Now, I don't need to know what year they were born. I don't need to know how old they are. But I want to make sure that I know their birth date. If I know that they were born on March 6th, then I'm going to give them a card or a phone call on March 6th and say, hey, happy birthday. And that's how I stay in touch with people. So that first piece, the dot, the check mark, the double cross, the triple cross, are how I stay in touch with people and how I track the number of calls that I make in a day. Now, when I go out and see somebody, I have a calendar, right? Now, you think, well, yeah, everybody has a calendar, right? You have your paper calendar, you have your electronic calendar, and you say, well, that's awesome. But how do you track, like if I said to you, hey, how many appointments did you have last week? And you say, I don't know how many appointments. Now you go back through your paper calendar, you thumb back through the paper. Oh, I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 appointments. Okay, great. All right, is that anywhere else? Or, for instance, if I said 3 months ago, how many appointments did you have that week? Could you tell me? Do you have somewhere that tells you that in summary, or do you have to go back to that week and count the number of appointments? Well, most people would have to go back and count the number of appointments. Well, that's manual, right? That's not automated. It's just manual. We can all do that. I guess we can go back in our calendars and we can take a look and see how many appointments we had in that week. But if you had an ongoing tracking system where you said, oh, I had 5 appointments that week and 6 and then 4 and then 7 and 9 and 3 and 2 and so on and so forth, then you could just go back and look at your numbers. You would know that because you made these 20 phone calls a day or 10 or 30 or whatever the number is, that resulted at some point in the future in this number of appointments. Now, if you had a 6-month view, you could say, well, I now can look at this and I can say, oh, okay, well, I did, I don't know, I did 1,000 phone calls, which resulted in 30 appointments, which resulted in 6 people being interested in knowing more about what I'm doing, and 3 of those people became clients. Terrific. And that generated 15 grand, or that generated 150 grand, or whatever the number is for you. But if you don't know that information, then it's very, very difficult for you to what? It's difficult for you to duplicate it. If you know that information, then you can duplicate it, or you can make changes to it. So if you say, well, I made $50,000 this year, and you can go back and say, this is how I made the 50 grand. I can see that I made this number of phone calls. I saw this number of people. This number of people were interested in knowing more, and this number of people became a client as a result of all of this information, all of this phone calls, and so on and so forth. Then I know, oh, okay, so 100 dials equals 30 appointments equals 10 people that are interested equals 3 people that become clients. If each client is worth $5,000 and I want to make 100 grand, I need 20 clients. If I need 20 clients, then I can backtrack it, can't I? Because I now know that 3 clients took 100 phone calls. 20 is almost 7 times 3, so I know I've got to make 700 phone calls in order to get the number of appointments that I need, in order to get the number of interested people in what I do, in order to get the number of clients, which is 20. So once I figured out the numbers one time during a particular year, I can then turn those numbers into anything I want them to be. If I want 20 clients, if I want 40 clients, if I want 50 clients. Now, there's a certain point at which you can't keep up. How many phone calls can you make and keep the number of appointments and do the proposals, whatever it is you're selling, and service the people that you have to service? So what you do then is you get to a point where you say, I'm full, like I'm doing as much as I can do working 10 hours a day or 12 or whatever it is that you feel is a reasonable amount of time. And I'm a big believer in the fact that even though you ought to be working hard, you also ought to be spending time with your family and your friends and your kids and your spouse and so on and so forth. So there's only so much time. You choose what that is. So at a certain point, you are going to have to delegate. You are going to have to say, okay, I cannot make any more phone calls, but somebody else can. I cannot service all of these clients, but somebody else can. So then you have to take part of your earnings and invest that in somebody or more than one somebody that can help you to take care of the clients and maybe the phone calls or whatever it is that you are the weakest at. I always say delegate your weaknesses and focus on your strengths. I learned that many years ago from a coach that I'd hired, Dan Sullivan, and he had said that, and I thought that was great. Delegate your weaknesses, focus on your strengths. So in that way, you're doing the things that you love to do. Often the weaknesses, the things that you're not good at, are the things that somebody else is. And that's how it should be. You want to find somebody that's good at the things that you're not good at. So bottom line is, before I get off the line here, I want to make sure you understand this. You have to get out there and make the phone calls and do the prospecting. You have to figure out how you're going to get in front of enough people to gain the number of clients that you need to generate the amount of income that you want. And then you're going to get to a point where you can't do any more as an individual and you have to begin to delegate. You have to begin to build a team around you that will support what you're doing and you're supporting what they're doing, and everybody's working in their lane to build this business to look after these folks in whatever way that they need to look after based upon the business model and the business that you have. So if you guys need any more, if you need to chat about how the prospecting works and what you really have to do, and if you need coaching, now I only coach women, and I only coach women in transition, marital transition and so forth. But there are other very, very good coaches out there that work with all sorts of different people, and I'm happy to refer you on to them. I know many of them, and there's some really, really good ones out there. So let me know. Give me a call at 818-606-7327 or email me at neil@thewealthcreatorcompany.com. And don't forget to go on our websites, sign up for the 26-week free program at www.thewealthcreatorcompany.com. Take a look at that. Take a look at neilsdeals.com, NEILZDEALZ. But the 26-week program is at thewealthcreatorcompany.com. Well, thanks for being on the line. I really appreciate it. This will get uploaded to YouTube, and it'll be on Facebook and all that. And let me know if there's anything else I can do. I hope you have a great week. For those of you that I may not see next Monday or over the holidays, have a wonderful Christmas and Hanukkah, New Year, and so forth. Have a great year end, and let's just kick ass in 2017. Take care. Bye-bye.